Hey, it's me. Let's pick up where we left off in our journey. So, we've talked before about the big struggle between life and death, an illusion that it must be either one or the other. In that struggle, you feel split between happiness and sadness, as though you can't have one without killing off the other. Intellectually, you might accept that life contains both pleasure and pain, but emotionally, you may still treat them like complete opposites, thinking that if you're unhappy now, you might stay unhappy forever. And so you panic, working even harder to force happiness and push away misery. Yet, the more you fear unhappiness, the less you can accept what life actually is, and the more trapped you become. Out of this fear, you build what we call the idealized self-image, something you unconsciously create to protect yourself from pain and to win this perfect kind of pleasure. We've also called this the mask self in the past. So why does the idealized self-image appear? Well, as children, we're taught to be good and perfect, or we face punishment. Maybe even our parents' withdrawal of love. So we conclude, I must be perfect or I'll be abandoned. We develop a fake version of ourselves that tries to appear flawless, never selfish or angry. We hope this will keep us safe and loved, but because it's not truly us, we know on some level we're just pretending. This creates tension, guilt, and pressure we often barely sense at first. For some people, the idealized self-image is about moral perfection. Others see strength or fierce independence as the standard they must meet. Many times, both exist in the same person, creating big contradictions in the soul. Either way, the result is that you set impossible standards and spend your life feeling anxious and insecure because you can't meet them. There's three main ways that this mask hurts us. The first is constant pressure. You try to be your idealized self, but fall short. You feel like a failure. The more you cling to that false self, the worse your actual self-esteem gets. The second way the mask hurts us is self-punishment. Because you can't meet those sky-high demands, you subconsciously punish yourself. You grow depressed or angry and maybe blame the world for your failure. And the third way the mask hurts us is distance from your real self. Instead of growing naturally from where you are, you fake. You invest a lot of energy into a phony role, taking that energy away from your genuine being, which becomes weaker from neglect. Now, what are the signs that you're living in this idealized self? What are the signs of the idealized self in action? Well, there's 5 big ones. The first sign is intense guilt or shame whenever you fail, perceive yourself failing. The second sign is feeling you're never good enough, but you're not sure why. The third sign is blaming others or circumstances when things go wrong. The fourth sign is sudden dips into self-hate if life exposes your imperfections. And the fifth sign is a harsh inner voice that demands perfection, leaving you exhausted. So how do we find freedom from this idealized self-image, from this mask? To find your true self, you must first see your idealized self for what it is. And that involves 4 steps. Step 1 is spotting its demands. Ask yourself, what does my fake self insist on? It may be always being right, always being nice, always strong, never needy, never angry, etc. The second step is realizing its harm. Notice how it creates strain, guilt, and a sense of fraud. It demands instant perfection, leaving no room for real growth. The third step is taking off the mask gradually. You can't just drop the idealized self overnight, but once you recognize it, you start to see how useless it really is. You see that it doesn't shield you from pain. If anything, it creates more unhappiness by setting you up for failure. And the fourth step is admitting your current imperfections. A healthy wish to become better isn't the same as forcing yourself to appear perfect now. Relaxing that force frees your energy to truly evolve. As you let go, you'll feel relief, casting off a heavy cloak. You'll stand more firmly in who you are, no longer gripping the false identity that always slips through your fingers. This real you can calmly deal with life, unafraid to admit mistakes or face disappointment. Your relationships become more genuine. You won't need to do things perfectly to feel worthy. You'll learn to accept that you're growing at your own pace without the crippling shame or pressure. People sometimes call spiritual growth coming home. They think it means leaving Earth and returning to the spirit world. But I think real coming home happens inside you when you stop trying to be something you're not. It means letting yourself be, acknowledging any flaws or emotions, trusting that you can handle them. You become the best version of yourself because you aren't wasting energy pretending. That sense of being home can happen right here, right now. And it feels like real security at last. So, my friend, take heart. Understanding your idealized self-image is a key step towards true self-confidence. By letting go of that harsh taskmaster, you'll gradually uncover the free, open, authentic person you truly are. And that's where genuine happiness and peace begin. I love you. Connect soon.